and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, Pistols and Pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV begins right now. That's a good thing. Boys are here. We've braved the inclement weather. That's what we do.
Yeah, man, we care.
And in the so on my screen, you can just see a little bit of the flames.
Oh, I see
in the corner
off the picture.
Off the picture, you don't see the full screen. They've got like the fake fireplace on the big screen back there. But on this window that I'm looking through, it's reflected like two or three times, and it looks like an inferno.
Yeah,
it looks like we're going out.
It kind of sums up the 2024 football season.
It's inviting. I'm always on that side of the glass when I do this show, and we've had that going for like 3 weeks now. And I don't get to see the view that Tom has. This is perfect. I love this. You guys just talk amongst each other. I'm gonna watch the fire.
On our side, it looks like you're in the midst of a burning, running away from a neighborhood.
We need to maybe get Jim Nansen here.
Oh, hello, friends.
Fireside chat.
Yay, sausage. Sausage tonight during the freeze.
We could, we could grill some sausage on those flames over there.
Let's get two.
Yeah, man. If you want some registered sausage, it is premium pork sausage, guys. It's none of this fake, this half-assed, filler-filled sausage you might find out there on the open market. It is premium pork sausage. None of the just stuff that they put in meat to make it
filler.
Yes, to make their profits go further. It's the real deal. All the different varieties, the andouille, the jalapeno cheddar. You got the kinds that are really good for breakfast. You got that are really good for grilling. There's a spicy version. All the versions, go to registermeats.com. They'll have them all there. They'll have them delivered wherever you live in the country, except we don't know if they're starting to ship to Greenland yet. We haven't.
We're not sure yet.
Or Panama. We'll see. We'll see how that all goes out. But right now, you can get it in the continental United States. Or if you live in this part of the country, into the Carolinas even, Georgia, Florida, South Florida, over into Alabama, you can get it at your local grocery store. If they don't carry it or if they don't carry the whole full line, talk to your meat manager. Talk some sense into it.
If registered gets to Greenland, that's a game changer.
I mean,
that's
really,
a game changer for all of us.
You get that market.
At that point, we are asking for a raise.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, sweet Jesus, we've moved into another country. Good Lord, man. It's not just the Southeast that we've
we've conquered.
Burgeoning, yes. I mean, goodness gracious.
Funny thing about Greenland, it's mostly ice. And Iceland is mostly green.
How about that?
Something to think about.
Man, imagine the promo codes Ben's going to be ripping off in the next season if Florida State wins football games. Like if they beat Alabama, he just may give away free sausage.
Oh, man, it's a free sausage for a week.
The business over to the fans. It's like the Packers.
We're the People's Sausage Company now.
Yeah. By the way, 221 days, boys.
Wow.
All right.
221 days after last night's ass-kicking concluded. And, I don't know. I looked at it a couple different ways this morning. We could use the time off from football. A little time off from college football. We could use a respite.
I would also like college football to end a couple weeks ago. I don't like that we're in the late January and it just ended.
It didn't go on forever.
I didn't get all the people on Twitter last night who were like going on these rants about it being on Monday night and being as if they just found out. Yeah. As if college football just announced last night, you know what? Now we're going to play the national championship game. I mean, like vitriolic rants. How could this happen?
Really?
We've known it was going to be this night for a long time.
The same thing happened when they moved the college football playoff to New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And when you see it in practice, you're like, this is asinine. This is insanity.
You told us this was going to happen?
Yeah, this is nuts.
I don't know. I think it was weird. I was in two different places at the end of last night's game. I was asleep at the end of last night's game. I already knew where that was headed. But I will say, thinking about it this morning, I like knowing that next year will be better for Florida State. I don't think there's any we will not argue about that. I think the three of us agree next year will be better. I think markedly better. I think it's going to be a lot better.
There'll be more wins than two.
Actually, and I felt a lot better, honestly, when I went back and I did a little thing for the website this morning off of
Warchant.com.
Yes, that's the website.
Yeah.
Off Mark Schlabaugh's way too early top 25. There's 4 FSU opponents are in the top 25.
Schlabaugh's still out there?
He's still out there. So I think that's all he does is the way too early top 25.
And then he disappears for 364 days.
It's a good racket if you can get it.
Maybe some investigations. I think he does some golf. But anyway, it's Alabama, Clemson, Miami, and Florida are all in there. But you look at the other 8 teams. I think their combined record of the other 8 teams Florida State's playing next season was 35-64 this year. That's not daunting. right?
No.
The best was a 7-6.
But somebody right now is in a different market saying about Florida State.
Yeah, 2-10 Florida State. Yeah,
I got it. 100%.
We got 2-10 Florida State.
100%. And I get that the rosters are all going to change. They can make improvements just like Florida State's making improvements. But again, man, it's, it just shows you that if you just get to decent to pretty good, I think you're in the market to win a bunch of those 8 games, which
I do too.
Again, man, you'd love to be in the playoff. You'd love to be. I've heard you and Aslan talking about, meaningful games in November. That would be unbelievable. Just be good. Just be decent. Just be watchable. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting scenario. Like if I do the long-term prognosis of Florida State, which who knows? I mean, good Lord, under the current system, you don't even know what conference you're going to be in. You don't know what college football is going to look like.
You know what the rules are going to be.
You don't know what the rules are going to be. So it's hard to project. But under the current set of circumstances in college football, which is not ideal, not an ideal look for college football. I think the sport's struggling a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very likable right about now.
Correct. That's the best way to phrase it. It's not a likable sport.
But what I was figuring was, in the interim, you got to do something between the extremes. We had the extremes of an undefeated regular season and a conference championship, and then the extremes of the worst possible outcome just about imaginable in Florida State. Unless you're like 70 and you remember the golden year, the yesteryears of the fledgling Florida
It was
State
the worst
program.
season by a Big 3 school in 50 years.
Yeah, it was something
It was unbelievable, guys. It's probably the worst season in school history when you think about expectations and resources.
Florida's 4-8 seemed unattainable.
Yeah.
Yes.
You would have killed for 4-8. You would have killed for 4-8.
Right.
2 more, double the wins this year.
Double the wins. Yeah.
Alex Atkins might still be here.
So somewhere in between, and you got to get to that. You got to raise the floor, and I feel like the hires and some of the changes they've made will raise the floor. I think it's going to be interesting if 3 or 4 years from down the road, they've actually reestablished themselves as a prominent program in the ACC, and they're getting back to playing. We'll be having a different conversation about what Florida State's peak efficiency should look like.
Yeah.
But in the interim, to Ira's point, let's try to go ahead and win 8-9 games.
And also
just go out there and try to win some games.
That's where I'm at. I mean, I'm sure people listening to this are like, hell no, it's got to be whatever, but I get it. And I'm sure Mike Norvell and his coaches are doing whatever they can to get it higher than that. But man, I'm not going to be disappointed. Somebody asked me if I'll be disappointed at 8-4.
No.
But they lose to the 4 good teams, that's quote unquote. Man, I don't know. I'm not going to. After what we just went through,
no, of course not. You'll be disappointed that Saturday. Like, come on, man. This is. But as you look back on the season, you'll be like, well, 8-4, man. 8-4 from 2-10.
Yeah, but Corey. I mean, look. Yeah, okay. 2-10 was so bad. Taking a winning season and saying, okay, that's a lot better. Given, and really, like to your point, Ira. Getting halfway through this season and feeling like everything else was just a moot point from that point forward.
Barely halfway through the season, man. I think about 4 games in.
Right,
Memphis.
Right.
Yeah, Memphis, you were done.
That was untenable. It's very difficult to, on a daily basis have to conjure up reasons to talk about a program who's as impotent as Florida State's was a year ago. But at the same time, like if you're a Florida State alum, fan, booster, supporter of any kind for the last 30 years, you're like, well, what are we just going to change the standard that we're trying to live up to here because they have a bad season? You would say temporarily. Yes, maybe they are temporarily, but it doesn't mean that you're no longer accountable for aspiring to be the conference champion.
Yeah.
Perennial contender to win this league. It's a sorry ass league. It's you and Clemson.
Yeah.
Get it together. Stop sucking ass. You can't. I mean, so it's a weird marriage because I'm with you on the one hand. We go into next year going, all right, man, let's just try to get 7-8 wins here and get our footing, and then we'll start talking about goals. On the other hand, you're kind of like, man, this counts too, though. I mean, it counts as part of your overall legacy if you're Mike Norvell. It counts as, for Florida State fans, are you getting closer to living up to what is the standard that Mike Norvell himself admits should be the standard?
Yeah, well, we just lived through this a few years ago. After 2021, to go 10-3 was a huge step up. At the same time, that NC State loss was ridiculous. The way they competed for an 8-minute stretch against Clemson and then kind of the whole game against Wake was gross. That 3-game losing streak happened. But when you look back at the end of the season, you're like, well, yeah, 10 wins was a great step. The next year, a 10-3 season would not have been met with the same excitement.
Enthusiasm.
Yeah, that would have been a disappointment.
Yeah.
So I think that's what this one can be. I'm not saying they're going to go 10-3 next year, but if they
I'll
did,
take it.
In a heartbeat. But if they get to 8 or 9, you can't get to great until you get to good. So hopefully next year is good. And they could surprise us. They could go from good to great in a year.
Yeah.
That happens.
No, for sure. 100%.
In 2022, if they decide to kick and Fitzgerald makes it, that probably maybe gets them in a 12-team playoff, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The whole there's two different things. I think there's two of my outlooks are kind of changing right now in terms of watching this sport. One is, as we've talked about, this was not a good playoff field. I mean, yeah, you had 12 teams in there, but a lot of those teams were not. Arizona State was not a great football team. They had a great player and they had some good matchups, but they're not a great football team. You could get to that level. You can get to Indiana's level. You could certainly in 1 year get to that type of a football team. And I think that's going to continue. I think, the parity in college football now, I think the access is going to be wider to a lot of different teams, and that's good for Florida State. The other thing, though, you really need to think about, and we talk about the going from good to great, it's never really always been linear success, the paths to success. I get that. But there was a general framework of how you get to really good. Now, man, I don't even know. Like Florida State could go to 8-4 next year. The only reason I think that puts you closer to getting back to great is it gives you a bigger opportunity to get better players in. If you're middling again, it's going to be harder to get good players in.
Yeah.
If you have success. So, but it's not like where this team is going to be on a journey. This team, a lot of these key players are going to be 1 or 2 year guys that are just getting you back to where you need to be. But it's not like this is traditional building a program.
It's a problem that college football has because it's resembling more and more of pro football. I mean, Washington now is a great example of why fans latch on and hope from year to year. They just went through 20 years of not mattering because their owner was a piece of garbage criminal and they didn't invest and they were stupid and they ran their franchise
Did
poorly.
They have the number? What was Jaden Daniels in the draft? Was he like the
second pick, I think.
Or Drake May was the second pick, right? It was Caleb Williams. Yeah. So was it 3 quarterbacks draft in a row?
Mm-hmm. Jury's still out on Drake May.
Yeah, but Drake's looking better.
Yeah.
Caleb, if you're a Bears fan, you're like, okay, really?
Well, maybe the
wrong guy
the
again.
new OC will help.
But the wrong guy
think
again.
about the fact that so that means the Commanders were that's a tough one to get over.
It's a whole lot better than the former.
But
no, I know, but it's hard for me not to say that former because I said it for so long.
New owner, new head coach, new DC, new quarterback.
Yeah, but they were the third worst team in the league last year.
They were terrible.
And now they're 1 game away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
he's a good quarterback.
I know Dan Quinn. I was actually at a party on Saturday night. It wasn't a party, it was a get-together watching the Lions game. And one of my friends was a Cowboys fan. He's like, yeah, the Cowboys could have had Dan Quinn a couple of years ago, and look where he is now. And I'm like, yeah, he wouldn't have Jaden Daniels with him.
Yeah.
Like, Dan Quinn's a fine coach. He's a decent coach. Jaden Daniels is the difference. But that should give all football fans hope. You get the right quarterback, and you get a decent head coach, you can go from the third worst team in the NFL to the Super Bowl.
Well, that may be a bit of an oversimplification because Jaden Daniels doing something that nobody's done. I mean, there aren't rookie quarterbas playing in the NFC and AFC championship games in year one with the 18th ranked overall defense in the league. Like, he is crazy good. I mean, crazy good. But yeah, that's a neither here nor there.
But they also lost 6 times this year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whatever it was. So that you get hot at the right time.
How many games they won in the last play?
So I was going back to the overall point. Yeah, a lot, including that crazy Hail Mary, right? Yeah. We got the Bears coach fired and then that DB cut.
Understandable.
Understandably. Yes. But like Ira is saying that it wasn't a playoff full of good or great teams. I think that's the norm going forward. I think Ohio State was the best team, clearly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they lost twice, and did they struggle at all in the playoffs? They didn't really, did they?
Well, that's
two touchdowns.
Texas, if they don't pitch it on the goal line, that is probably a tie game.
But Texas did pitch it on the goal line because they couldn't compete physically with Ohio State.
In the trenches. They couldn't in the red zone. That was the number 1 ranked red zone defense in the country for a reason. They're huge.
Yeah, they would have got stoned for straight
Also,
plays.
Texas had like the 3rd highest payroll in college football.
Yeah,
so
I think those were
Texas.
Those were the 2 best teams, I think. But Ohio State proved they weren't unbeatable either.
Right.
They lost a couple. So that's the beauty of the sport and kind of the this part of the sport I don't like. Like, it's it feels like the NFL playoff.
I agree,
but like the NFL playoff.
It did hit me during that game though that I did feel like, okay, because I agree with it. I've been wrestling with that for a few weeks. I'm like, man, I don't mind it in the NCAA basketball tournament when you crown a team that was not the best team in the country. They got hot. They're Cinderella. You can get behind that. I don't know that I really love that happening in college football, and I felt that might be happening. Some of these fraudulent teams were getting close, but
Ohio State won. Yeah,
Ohio State is the best team in the country.
Yeah,
and if not for that one fumble at the end of an unbelievable play, I mean, they win by 40.
And the bad side, I think the hard part for college football fans, this reckoning of what the sport's becoming, is if things stay the status quo where you have unlimited free agency, it's difficult to stomach. Well, then what happened was the highest payroll in all of college football won the national championship.
Yep. Did lose twice, but won the national championship.
Kind of like, great.
But I also won't take away from them the fact that they were very well coached and they executed really well. I mean, so yes, you have the best players. That's great.
Yeah.
But you can have the best players and flame out.
Yeah. See them against Michigan.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy to think about. Well, the other part of that is, listen, that everybody had opportunities to do that, right? So I'm not trying to take anything away from them. And if you really think about it, boat racing Tennessee, avenging a loss to Oregon, and beating Texas before beating Notre Dame. Good God.
It's a great month.
So that's 4 wins against top 10 teams in a row to win the national championship. Insane.
Alternative point of view, our buddy Keith Cottrell, who's a rivalry guy and believes that your rivalry matters as much or more than anything else.
He'd be wrong. As they host the national championship trophy.
He thinks you were wrong. He would take the win over Michigan if he was in Ohio State. And listen, there's something to that.
Hey, Keith, I'm going to give you a hug on the air right now. You're crazy. Yeah. If Florida State beats Miami and Florida next year and loses 6 other games, and then one of those rivals goes on to win the national championship.
Keith was on the team, the 99 team. Like, he would have been okay with them losing to Virginia Tech because they beat Florida.
He hates Florida. And I don't think he's alone. I'm not saying he's in the majority, but I don't think he's alone. He hates Florida more than he loves Florida State. I mean, there's no doubt.
Oh, he's one of those.
That's really unhealthy.
Come on, Keith. Get it together. You're a Nole, man.
Counseling.
You're not an anti-Gator. You're a Nole.
We need you to be better than that, Keith, even though you were an actual
actual national champion.
Yeah.
Embrace the hate, Keith. I'm cool.
Good God. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment. Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachia Parkway.
Searching for the best place to host an event for your friends and family? The Golf Club at Summerbrook is more than just a place for a round of golf. It's also one of the best choices for hosting and celebrating the most special days in your life. From rehearsal dinners and baby showers to corporate banquets and kids' birthday parties, you'll receive amazing personal service and attention to every detail when you choose the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Find out how affordable it can be and call us today at 850-894-GOLF. That's 850-894-GOLF.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping.
Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps.
Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors.
And we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless.
Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansfornoles.com. That is, again, loansfornoles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Noles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansfornoles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansfornoles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Every journey starts with a first step, a daring step. But what they don't say about first steps is that you have to keep going, taking step after step, and eventually you take a big leap, accomplishing more than you ever thought possible. After 57 years, Tallahassee Community College is soaring even higher, and we're now officially Tallahassee State College. We invite you to take a step and visit Tallahassee State College. Learn more at tsc.fl.edu.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
You guys prepared for the snow right after we get off the air, like within an hour or two?
I am.
Salt your driveway? Did you?
Yeah, I got snow tires on my car.
Sweet.
Right? Yeah,
that's good.
Get
call.
the scrapers
Good
out.
call.
Everybody got the scrapers out.
I'm ready.
Good to go.
Yeah, I don't really know what you can do. Just enjoy it.
I think if you're in Tallahassee, there's not much you can do. I doubt they've got the salt lining the streets.
Probably not.
Not going to happen.
Be careful out there, everyone.
Yeah, I did. In seriousness, I think the city put out something that they're going to be putting sand or something on bridges to help because those are going to ice first.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, definitely be careful. 100%. There was a reason all you state employees, like some of my family members and some of our family members, they left. I think they're letting that today at 1 o'clock.
Early.
Yeah. And everything's pretty much shut down tomorrow. So definitely be safe.
Because they're soft. Right. Well, it's a soft city. Remember when the Syracuse head coach tweeted that out about the Atlanta thing?
Yes.
When Atlanta was shut down, but literally their cars on the road for 14 hours.
People had to escape their cars.
Yeah, they had to. Shipper Jones went and picked up Freddie Freeman on I-20. Yeah, and in his snowmobile. Yeah, and the Scott Schaefer was like, "This is a soft ass city." Soft. That was his hashtag, soft ass city or something, because he was stuck in his rental car.
At least he did it a hashtag.
Yeah, he hashtagged. It was a long time ago. That's back when hashtags were something like that. Something about being
for anybody
soft.
searching for soft ass.
Like, oh, there it is. Oh, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. I thought he was talking about Miami. But
it's Atlanta. He's stuck in Atlanta snow.
Well, they wouldn't know what to do in Miami if it snowed. Good Lord.
Run into the ocean.
I was down there when it was 78. The newscaster was on like, well, guys, get your parkas.
Oh, they let us out of school. I was in second or third grade, and they actually stopped school and said, all right, go run out and touch the snow. And I literally had just moved down from New York, and I was like, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
And that was the last time it snowed in Miami, too.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I just saw the headline the other day. Somebody reposted it. It was pretty cool that had happened, yeah. So,
and even that was just flakes, but this is going to be like snow.
It's going to be real snow, apparently. It's kind of exciting.
I'm a pessimist. I don't think it's going to.
I don't either. That's what I was just telling him. I think it's going to miss us.
You think the Mag Lab's going to do its job?
No.
Just never works out the way it's supposed to.
Conspiracy theorist. I just don't think it's going to happen because I want it to.
Yeah, exactly.
I really like to see it. And I'm like, it's not going to happen.
Starting to live like Corey Clark now. Want stuff to happen. Can we bet against it?
No, but I bet on Ohio State to win the national championship right after they lost to Michigan. I was like, oh, got this.
What if we all meet at my house or your house or Corey's house now, which is domesticated?
It's domesticated.
It used to be.
It was a bachelor-ish.
A little shaky.
Yeah.
But we could go to one. We could all like sit and wait and
watch
do
the snow
and have a snowball fight.
I'm too old.
Snowball fight.
No, I'm too old.
Come on,
Corey. I'll get you some Islay Scotch.
What?
Your favorite?
I like Lagavulin.
Yeah, that's an Islay Scotch.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, give me the best there is then.
I could bring some over, buddy. We'll sit back. You can taste the hints of seaweed and oil and all that good stuff.
I would love it.
As much kerosene as possible.
You had me at seaweed oil.
There you go. Take that into your olfactory. You'll be in heaven, buddy. Boy. How about that?
Well, I'll get back to you. I'll text you and let you know.
Well, all right, back to college football for a second. We get to put it on the back burner momentarily, although the calendar has changed so much for college football. You don't get a lot of time.
It's like the NFL with rosters and comings and goings.
You don't get a lot of time.
Because now those kids that played in the playoff can go in the portal. What would Jeremiah Smith get?
Okay, I was talking about this the other night.
A lot.
Yeah. I would say, and he can. Like today, he could be. He's on his agent.
Yeah.
Could be reaching out to every big program and saying you can have him for $10 million. You think somebody would pay $10 million? Because I do, which is ridiculous. Because who's really paying is the problem, Myra. It's not the University of Alabama paying for
it. Won't be a fan at that point. It would be a booster who's writing a check.
That's what I'm saying.
You're not fundraising. You're not doing a GoFundMe.
But still, it's a dude paying, just one guy paying for his team to be better above board. Yeah, it's allowed.
I'm aware that they may have actually happened in college football before the NIL.
Not $10 million.
Not in mass and not $10 million.
Yeah, it was a roll of hundreds. How many? What would a roll of hundreds be if it was $10 million? It'd be like a bushel.
I kind of feel like this quote, by the way, from Ohio State's athletic director sums up to some extent Ross Bork, kind of the way that I've wrestled with how I feel about college football right now. So I was picturing last night, actually this morning, what if that was Florida State hoisting the trophy? Like, and what kind of emotions would I have?
Would you be crying like
Herb Street? No.
No.
Oh, I lampoon him in the bonus hour after the show, by the way, because that's ridiculous up there getting choked up. I mean, you had the highest paid roster in America.
Yeah. Well, think about what those kids went through.
Yeah. So there's a whole segment on that, and we can make fun of that too. But here you go. So this is what's going to happen. And I know this is why I suppose I would say this too, because you do not want to deconstruct and belittle successes of that magnitude if you're a player, a coach, a fan, certainly not an athletic director, right? You can't just chalk it up to, or you wouldn't want to anyhow, well, we paid to have more good players than Notre Dame did. Because then you're just like, well, okay, what are we doing out here? But his quote
never bothered the Yankees.
That's right, but they don't.
The Dodgers.
Yeah,
or the Dodgers.
The Dodgers. Holy cow!
People get focused too. He was asked about the considerable resources that they put into this roster.
Considerable,
right?
And he was the AD. Was he the AD with Jimbo at one point at A&M?
You might be right. You have to back look. But anyhow, he's asked about this. Like, hey, congratulations, Theo.
Yeah.
But my man, you guys paid more than anybody else. Him. Yeah, well, people get focused too much on the money.
Sure.
If you have all the money in the world and you don't have the other stuff, none of this really matters. The thing about Ohio State is people really care. You don't have to manufacture people caring. You don't have to trick somebody. You don't have to take out billboards. People just care. When you dial into that and people can see that it's a mission, they see a real plan, they see a vision. He's not trying to prop himself up or anything.
No. This is just the Ohio State.
Okay, here you go.
Words.
Yeah. Coach Day and Gene Smith, they really set it up. We're able to just execute it. That's what it's really all about. People who care. It's not the collective, guys. It's not one singular group. It's not a big-time donor.
Okay, I've had enough of this guy.
That's the quote.
Because nobody else cares. Nobody else gives a crap.
That's the most ridiculous thing in the world. But he has to say that. And Ohio State fans will tell themselves that. Right. And I'm wondering if we wouldn't be doing the exact same
probably
thing.
What makes me upset about it still makes me upset about the snub is that team wasn't a collection of guys like Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith. They had some big name players, but none of them were big names before they got to Florida State. You know, they were likable in a team in an era full of this.
Well, they got screwed. They should have had the opportunity.
But I mean, that was what made their story so unique and fun. Was they were kind of underdogs
in this. I mean, look, man, you get if you do it and lose like Florida State did, like Ole Miss did, you get lampooned.
Yes.
If you do it and win, you get cheered and celebrated. Both of those teams had 1-year rental quarterbacks. I mean, you know, the backfield for Ohio State. I mean,
Judkins
was at
Ole Miss.
So I mean, it's not like these teams were homegrown, right. But they won. And I'm not, listen, you can be both things.
You can be both things. It can absolutely be both.
You don't have to act like Kirk Herbstreit did. And this was like this underachieving group of kids that banded together and overcame all adversity to win. That was ridiculous. But you also don't have to say, well, it's the most expensive roster, because I think that's false too, because expensive rosters lose all the time. Texas A&M, when Ross Bjork was it, he's seen the other side. Yeah. He was at Texas A&M. I looked up. He was the AD there from 19 to 24.
Sure.
He saw what Jimbo put together.
You have to have the other things.
Yeah, but you have to have both.
Yeah,
you're not going to
without Jeremiah.
Exactly.
Yes, correct.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
But
Caleb Downs.
I get the other side of advocating for that, but man, that ain't the reason.
But also, this is crazy. Like the more I read, the angrier you get. You're like, are you kidding me with this? I mean, he doubled and tripled and quadrupled down. Oh, well, you guys are focused on the money. Oh, you're right. I'll tell you what, next year, spend $2 million on your NIL.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, let's see
if
all
all
those.
the caring in the world
Yeah. How
compels
much
you
you
to
care.
a championship. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you should do a care fundraiser.
Yeah.
Like do a
Those guys-
Zoom.
yeah.
Instead of asking for more money, just ask for more caring. We're going to do a caring meter like the United Way. And we're going to measure how much caring.
We'll see
you
which
guys put
fan
in.
base cares the most,
Ridiculous.
and then we'll just award them the
Yeah.
championship.
I do think that I do wonder as we move forward. I'm sure it's a dumb thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'll do that sometimes. Will these championships, because of the way the rosters are constructed, because of the way the sport is right now, feel a little more hollow?
Yes, that's the point I was making earlier. Like, college football's in a tough spot right now. It
Yes.
doesn't feel very likable.
They're
And
not
I
the NFL,
understand,
but they're much closer to the NFL than they've ever been.
But the NFL does it better than them.
Of course they do.
No, it's not just organizationally, Corey. It's that the NFL has real rules.
Yes,
rules
I
that
know.
are unilateral and applied across the board
Yeah.
that everybody has to adhere to. So you would admire an NFL team much more than you would a college
Yes.
football team right now, is just outspending their opponents.
Yeah.
It adds for cynicism.
I don't know.
It adds for cynicism,
Right.
gang.
But say we got to a point. Let me ask you this. Say we got to a point where you had a separate staff, like the NFL. You had a separate scouting staff that did your recruiting. You don't even coaches. Man, we're not bothering you with recruiting anymore. You guys coach and come up with schemes.
We're headed there, buddy.
And if that happens, is that going to change? Are we not going to love college football?
I'll just watch
Does
the
it
NFL again. They'll do better.
And I guess, man, I don't know, man. I think this, there's different degrees of it. The ultra fan who wants to believe so badly that those players have the same college experience that they did, and if they love the campus just as much as they did, and they hang out on the green, and they're that they're having that experience. You want to believe that. There's a percentage of people who are. Then there's the percentage of people who I think probably have a little bit more realistic, and then there's the part that are cynic and don't care. And I don't know that it cheapens the championship. If you're an Ohio State fan, man, I think you're on top of the world today.
Yeah. Oh, I don't doubt they're on top of the world, but I also don't doubt that they're saying things like that, because you wouldn't want to confront that reality. It doesn't feel as, even though the sham of amateurism existed 30 years ago, to your point, you'd say, well, wait a minute, this was never on the up and up. This hasn't been on the up and up in a long time. Except that we're not too far removed from players actually being suspended from bowl games for missing an exam, missing
Or
classes.
Todd Gurley getting suspended for signing autographs.
So
Jameis just did a video making fun of his crab legs.
It was
thing.
a great video.
Remember the crab legs?
Yeah.
I mean, it's $20.
Yeah. So there
national
was
scandal.
an element of those players having some like experience on a college campus and suffering consequences.
Yeah.
Which now you're about to say simply does not exist.
Yeah.
It is a minor league football team that is separate from the university that happens to wear your colors.
I hope they get a handle on it. I don't know how they will. People like us that grew up in the 80s and 90s, where it was becoming, well, you guys grew up in the 60s and 70s. I grew up in the 80s.
Actually, I caught the tail end of the 50s.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You were there for integration.
The Army was
you
great.
couldn't believe what
He
USC did when they rolled into touchdowns.
believe it.
The perspective I had. The perspective
those
I had.
Staubach days against the Army when he was with Navy, those were incredible. But we grew up in a different time period. This is different, and I don't know if it can't ever go back. It's never going to go back to what it is. Can it tilt a little bit more in the direction that I think 99% of college football fans enjoyed about the sport? That you did feel a real connection to the players, because you did see them come up through the program for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and you saw them play backup minutes and then starter minutes. And they're just there was a connectivity to that. There was a connectivity that I think makes college football unique to the NFL. I can't tell you right now 10 Falcons that will be on the team next year.
This is what's happened to college basketball.
Right.
People don't care. They don't even,
Right,
the ratings for college basketball are the lowest they've ever been. Nobody's watching. They don't care at all, because they don't even know who's on their team from year to year.
And also because that sport kind of sucks.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
But I think the difference to me, though, and I get you, man, there is no doubt that was
the sport is getting better. Like the play on the field, I think is the college football play on the field, and the fact that more teams have a chance is all good. It's just I wonder about the connectivity of fans.
Oh, there's no doubt that part of it is gone. That part of it, the way we had it, is completely gone. And that's, it sucks, but it also sucked that these players were not making much. And then once the coaches started making millions and millions of dollars,
it was ridiculous.
That's what screwed it up.
We were for those changes. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to blame any one thing. I'm with you on that. For years, we knew that it was wrong. These guys making $12 million. They're building these lavish facilities to the gods, and nobody can get paid. Sure, got it. No, that was terrible. But then we just decided, well, if it, nothing.
They didn't just turn the faucet on a little bit. It was a fire hose.
And everybody's like, whoa, wait a minute now.
I do say say though, man, I think it's all about your perspective if your team's winning, because again, man, during 13-0, nobody cared that Keon Coleman had been at Florida State for 3 months. When you're winning, you don't worry about it. When you lose, man, then this sport sucks. And
I just think we're about to. There are a lot of things that are changing in the sport of college football that we're going to look back on in 10 years and kind of get a better handle of. All right, this worked, this didn't work. I like this, I hate this, whatever it might be. And when you're in the infancy stages of this radical shift, you are going to encounter serious speed bumps. There's no doubt about that. But I have a sense, and I know the ratings won't say that for this year, but I'm not sure that this upwardly track that we've seen from a rating standpoint and popularity standpoint is going to continue. I don't believe that it will.
That's very possible. I've had the same concern.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance there might legitimately be a commissioner in a couple of years. I think the powers that be, whoever they are, will figure out a way to have a czar or a commissioner. I hope
it'll be the power too.
Yeah, but I mean they'll have to sign off on it, but hopefully it'll be someone that does care about college football in general, and not just the power to.
But again, we'll have to, there's so many things. You got to get the collective bargaining, and there's a lot of things that have to happen for any of that to even work.
That's true. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
As a winter weather event looms over North Florida and South Georgia, use caution when using heating units. Combustible materials should be placed at least 3 feet away from heating devices. Dress in layers if outdoors. Check on people you know who are elderly or disabled. The Tallahassee Fire Department also conducts welfare checks if someone you know is inaccessible. Call the Consolidated Dispatch Agency at 850-606-5800 to request the service. Officials have also recommended insulating pipes that are outdoors with a cloth to prevent freezing. It is important to bring pets indoors and towel dry your pet's paws if they have walked on cold, wet grass to avoid chapped paws. Bring plants indoors and move them away from drafty windows, and add a layer of mulch around tree roots to avoid root rot. You can also cover garden beds with plastic wrap or cardboard to prevent plants from being damaged by the cold weather. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A winter storm warning continues. An extreme cold warning begins at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. High temperatures reach up to 45 this afternoon under overcast skies with mixed precipitation possible at times. North winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. 1 to 3 inches of snow today through tonight. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 45.
This is Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. There are many companies out there selling pest treatment programs at prices which seem too good to be true. Like most things, you get what you pay for. Let's separate the fact from the fiction. Fiction. The price these companies offer includes all visits needed to keep a home pest-free. Fact. Their prices only include regular visits for exterior treatments. If you encounter pests inside your home, these companies will charge you for additional visits. Is that really pest prevention? At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we always apply exterior treatments, but our plan includes a significant difference. Whenever you encounter an interior problem, Paul's technicians are there, usually the same day you call, and there is no extra charge. With ProShield, you'll never pay extra for providing the service we promised. Pest prevention for your home, and we'll be there as many times as needed to honor our commitment with no extra charge. Paul's Termite and Pest Control is a local company that proudly served the Tallahassee area for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites and any other pests,
call Paul's. We'll get them all.
And we make lawns greener, too.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Did you have fun writing your article about the quarterback depth chart?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of competition there.
Yeah. It wasn't meant to be snarky. I'm saying, though, did you feel better when you wrote it out? Did you?
You know, I got a little bit nervous there for a second because when I went to the roster, FSU just redid their rosters. They updated all the heights and weights and numbers and all that stuff. And when I first went there was some sort of glitch and Trevor Jackson didn't show up.
He thought he was gone.
And I was like, what's going on here? And I started to get worried because I was like, first of all, I think Trevor Jackson has a potential for a future under Gus Malzahn's offense. And I also was like, man, they don't have any depth at all. If something happens to Castellanos, you're down to Brock in a walk-on. But no alarms, or the alarms, we're taken care of. I called over at FSU. Trevor Jackson's fine.
Was the screw up? Why wasn't he on the roster?
It was just a computer glitch, apparently. I don't know.
Come on.
It couldn't have been human error.
No.
Blame the computer.
They had Kevin Sperry on there, though, right?
Kevin Sperry, the freshman, was on there. You're right.
Yeah.
But I don't think it made me feel better. I think what it did make me feel is that I am just interested really to see what happens behind Castellanos. There's no drama. He's the guy. But I am curious to see how quickly Brock Glenn and Trevor Jackson really grasp that offense and what they look like. Because I think it's an offense you can play in right away. And that's the thing about what Malzahn's done is, and you can argue if it works as well today as it did in the past. Clearly it doesn't work quite as well as it did in the past, but it is an offense you can learn quickly and execute quickly. And that's a positive for where FSU is.
He'll also be more malleable within that offense. It won't strictly be what it was 19 years ago when he leashed it on the world or whatever. I mean, it's going to be different. There'll be elements of a passing game. I think you realize in watching Notre Dame last night, I know they're not running the same system, but we saw very early on they did not trust Riley Leonard to throw the ball. And that's because he sucks at throwing the ball.
Wisely.
So they treated him like a very small Tim Tebow and said, we're going to use you as a battering ram, and if you don't die, we may stay in this game.
Yeah.
He nearly died on the first drive.
Yeah, it worked for the first drive.
You saw him go to the sideline. I was like, he's dead.
My favorite thing, not to kill Kirk again, although it's fun, when he goes, oh, look, he kept keeping his feet moving, blah, blah, blah. And it was like Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
He was like horizontal on one of those runs, and the line's just pushing
My
him.
favorite was when he got up and took off his helmet and the road rash on his face. I was like,
yeah, man, they rode him into the ground.
You're asking a bit much for this guy. I have a feeling Ohio State's going to make you throw it next drive. Yeah. They did. Yeah, and that was your ball game. But so you're going to have to at some point show elements of the passing game, because that's what's going to happen. Different reasons. They'll take that away. There will be a couple teams that can take Castellanos' legs out of the equation. So I'm just thinking that.
And he's done. And he's done it.
Gus is going to have to incorporate that big time.
Yeah, but I was on the Warchant message boards, and there was a conversation about the quarterbacks. It's mainly about Beck in Miami, and if something about like if Florida State would have gone after Beck, and I'm like, I think Beck is obviously a better pro prospect than Thomas Castellanos.
Sure.
Obviously.
Yes.
But in the Gus Malzahn offense, no, Castellanos is a better fit. And I'm still not sold on the offensive line enough to think that you could have just a statue type quarterback or just an okay athlete and be able to put up huge rushing numbers. I think for this year in particular, you need a dynamic athletic quarterback, and you got one. I mean, you got a guy that ran for 1,100 yards. In 2 years ago, he was at 1,100. He ran for more yards than Trey Benson,
and he would have done last year, except O'Brien was not going to let him.
No, let him throw the ball. Yeah,
it was weird. His most rushing yards were against Florida State. It was like 70.
It was all in the fourth.
And it was all at the end of
and
the
even
game.
in that game, it was like we got to do this just to win the game, and then they just stopped doing it. Period, which was just a bizarre way. But yeah, so the more I think about Castellanos with Malzahn, paired with Malzahn, and some big targets. So he doesn't have to be perfect throwing the ball.
Yeah,
that's that gets you a little excited that you could literally double your points per game.
And the line,
you should double your points per game.
Double your points per game. Yes.
Look, I will take some arrows. Probably I need to take more arrows than I thought. Because I went back and read a couple things I wrote last August, and
why'd you do that?
I may delete them.
Yeah, don't give people ideas either.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, well, if you do, you do. Maybe do it before I go back and delete them.
Delete them, yeah. Like the Ravens should have done on that Mark Andrews tweet.
But holy mackerel,
that's
man.
a toughie. They didn't delete that.
No,
tweet,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But there's no way that these guys started at other schools for different offensive line coaches for as long as they did, and are worse than what we saw last year, or as bad as what we saw.
Well, that is correct, Larry. You are 100% correct on that. You can state it emphatically. Yeah. They will not be. They actually.
I am going to be more careful this year.
Oh, everybody.
A little more measured. That's fair.
So what's going to be fun? I thought about this when
I'm
it was
going to be so
down.
measured that people are going to be mad at me. No, he thinks they all suck.
No, but here's the beauty. That's not measured.
You're right.
Here's the beauty, is that we're going to be the most boring trio in the history of Florida State coverage, because what we're going to do when we do our post-practice wrap is, I don't know.
Look, they could be good.
I have
Who knows?
no idea.
Who knows? Find out August 30th.
That dude looks like he's pretty fast. If you think that the 17 was fast, 17 did run fast, Jeff.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Corey, I'll tell you that guy might be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this guy will be okay.
I missed you at Tavello, man.
I know. That was Saturday, right?
Yeah,
I couldn't get there.
Dude, apparently there was one loyal listener who was kind of waiting for you.
Oh,
Jeff. Well, the Jeff, he does nothing but disappoint people.
He might still be there.
I doubt it.
He might still be there.
Well, he'll need a beer. Tell Maurice he needs a beer because it's going to get cold.
But no, it was they had a really nice event up at Tavello Brewing up in Thomasville, Georgia. Just when you get
gorgeous.
into Thomasville.
It is awesome. And there's a good reason, but you're not into excuse making. Go ahead and talk about Tavello.
There you go. They had their second anniversary on Saturday, a celebration. It was awesome, man. I got there, I think around 3 or 4, stayed there for a few hours. And they said it was packed from noon till, not packed like wall to wall people. I tweeted a few photos, but in Instagram them because I'm on the gram.
You're IG, yeah.
But
on TikTok. Oh, you are on TikTok still, right?
Not on TikTok. That's your family. That's on TikTok.
That's right.
But no, they good crowd, and it was just a good vibe. All the different beers. People are trying out all the different beers.
Did you try each of one?
Not the stout, buddy.
Come on.
Not the stout.
Come on. Next time if I go, will you have the stout with me?
If you get the stout, I might taste the stout.
No, I want you to drink a stout. You'd love it.
Just take a sip of his stout.
You're overcome by the aesthetics. You drink the stout.
It looks like mud. Yeah.
But it's not.
That's exactly what he'd say when he wants you to taste a little bit of stout.
No.
You're overcome by the aesthetics.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're going to taste it.
Then he puts on some music and changes the mood.
Stout.
Anyway,
I love it.
Tavello Brewing in South Georgia and Thomasville,
Maurice,
Georgia.
I got away from us there.
We get it. It's about 30 minutes up the road. They're going to be expanding. You're going to start getting Tavello, we believe, in some restaurants and bars in Tallahassee.
Get off your ass, Tallahassee.
In the meantime, make the little ride up to Thomasville. Don't go crazy because you got to make the drive back.
Well, you can have a DD.
1 or 2.
You can have a DD. You can have 19 beers if you have a DD.
Bring your kids. Honestly, I've figured out that's really the best thing the kids are for.
Use your kids.
Yeah, once they get to 16 or 17, DDs.
Yeah, I remember the first time we went to the hub. I was just like, you're driving, Bryce. Dad and Mom don't get loose.
Here's my keys, son.
No, but Tavello works the same way. Take it on out there, buddy. Have a good time. I saw the pictures, and you looked like you were having a good time. You didn't need me at that time.
Oh, we didn't need you, but we wanted.
And I'm sorry to that one listener that wanted to say hello. I'll be there.
The best part is Maurice comes over to me and goes, so should I tell this guy Jeff's not coming? And I'm like, does he not care that I am here?
Yeah.
Well, not at all. I get it. I know I'm a far number 2 or 3, but nothing. Like I could tell you stories about Jeff. I could show you pictures in my phone of Jeff.
There were a lot of people that were very excited that you were there.
Sure.
They were.
Just one in particular was not.
Yeah, there was it. It was one person who was like, golly. Yeah. Everybody else though was
Cameron
like,
letting them down again.
All right. Yeah. I'll be back at Tavello and soon. It's there's no football. Football was kind of holding us back a little bit in that sense.
Yeah, not anymore.
No. And now you got golf. You can go take it on down the road. Hey,
yeah.
Until Florida State baseball starts, you can go there like every day.
No, you got hoops, and you got hoops tomorrow night. They've kind of played themselves into position where if they win on the road,
they're an NIT team right now.
Correct. Yeah, but if they go out of the road,
I just don't want you to overstate.
No, I'm not saying they're on the bubble, but they could get themselves on the bubble very quickly with these winnable games if they win them.
Winnable games. You gotta win them all.
Yeah, or at least 90% of them.
Right. Would you say there's like an 8-game run here that they?
Yeah, I mean, you got a good 6-2, 7. I mean, you got 19-6. You're in the conversation.
The problem is this asinine conference.
Yeah, it's crazy.
These trips to California are not helpful. They're not. That's not going to be conducive to winning.
He's not making excuses.
He's not.
He's not making excuses. Go out there and win a damn basketball game, baby.
So they got Cal on Wednesday, Stanford on Saturday, and then I think Virginia Tech back at home. Virginia Tech's awful this year, by the way. So if
much
you could,
of the ACC is.
It is. It's crazy. It's like Duke and Clemson. I think Wake is pretty good now.
You see a trend here?
Yeah, it's odd how bad it is.
How the Canes doing?
Holy cow! You know, that was the most points Division I schools given up all season in a regulation game.
Should everybody go back and revisit their takes on Jim Larrañaga now? Because, I mean, he left the dumpster fire. He saw what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that team was a joke.
And the ladies smoked him as well. So that was a dual get you some. And by the way, we were this close all these years, even with a Miami team that made it to the Final Four.
Bahika.
The Bahika could have
that was one loss, right? They're 14-1.
Loss.
They're 14-1 in 15 games. And it's not like Florida State was better for a majority, at least a good portion of that. They weren't that much better. Yeah. That game where Cleveland beat them on the buzzer beater is the worst loss the Final Four teams ever had. That was all horrible. Florida State
20,
team.
down 20.
They were down 20 in the second half to the worst Florida State team in history almost. And he banks in a 3. Like, it was crazy. It was even that close.
And he didn't do a thing at Miami once he went there.
He scored 31 in that game. They just lost by 40.
There you go.
They gave up 117.
It's like I finally found my kind of game.
Yep, back and forth.
That'll remind you, and especially you, Corey, the old Dominique days.
Hey, man. No. We're not going to sit here.
We'll do it.
Dominique won games. Dominique won games.
Dominique scored 40, gave up 36.
But that's a plus of 4. That's a plus of 4.
Corey knows what I'm right.
Did Larry Bird bring him to the induction ceremony?
So, look, nobody guarded Larry Bird. Nobody can guard Larry Bird.
Why is it Atlanta
didn't give a lot of effort because he had to save it on the other end?
Why is it in Atlanta that you always have a star that couldn't guard you?
Yeah,
you always have
Trey now literally couldn't guard anyone. I know, it's crazy.
They'll score a gazillion, but they can't stop you.
But Dominique at least won games. They were always a playoff team, a top 4 playoff team. Matthew Cleveland, no offense, Matthew, he's from Atlanta too. He never wins wherever he is.
Yeah.
He never wins wherever he is.
Except for when he's hitting the game-winning shot against both Virginia and Miami.
Yeah.
You're right. Against Virginia was crazy too.
Yeah.
That game, I thought that game was over.
Well, of course it was like 0.6 seconds left, and they had to go 94 feet.
And I guess yesterday it was the anniversary of Snare Shot at Duke.
Oh wow!
Today, I think it's today. Yeah.
So something.
That
I
video
was there.
That video from Laux' brother on the bench, behind the bench, of that pass and shot.
And Laux' pass. I mean, Snare Shot's unbelievable, but that is a nuts pass.
It's he on the other side of the court dribbling with his left hand, no look flick to the right.
Gets it right where he wants it in the pocket.
It's in the pocket.
What's crazy is like if you saw Luke Laux is a big guy, he's like 6'3", 6'4", but guys that played basketball like we did growing up, we'd be like, yeah, he'd be the best player in our pickup game, but he's not. I mean, he's okay. He's nothing special. These guys are unbelievable. Like, think about Luke Laux, never had a sniff in the NBA, was a pretty good guard by the end of his career in college.
He was.
But to make that pass, left-handed, like
the game on the line.
natural ability that you have to see that is unbelievable.
It's a dime, and I'm glad we're talking about it this way. First of all, Luke, if you're listening, thanks. He listens to the show sometimes. He does. And secondly, I do think it's important for people to go back and look at it because it's like I was talking about. It's not just a good pass. He's in motion. I mean, like he catches it so he can just go right up.
He hits it right in the chest.
Not just reaching or nothing like that. It is just
it's a no look too, and he takes one extra dribble. I noticed that today. He takes one extra dribble to draw the defender just a little closer before the quick pitch over there. It's one of the best passes probably in the history of college basketball.
We talked ourselves into it,
especially when you put it in the situation, and the fact that Duke had just scored, and I mean, it was an all-time moment.
And the last time Florida State won at Duke.
And I'll point out that was a foul. Should have been an and one.
There you go.
Against Austin Rivers.
He definitely found it. But well, that's tough luck. Imagine that Duke didn't get a call.
Sorry, Austin.
First time ever. Hour number 2, headliner questions coming up. Stay with.
You can depend on Florida farmers. We're your neighbors. Our farm is where we live and work. It's where we raise our families and provide for yours. When you see our logo in the store, you know that our name is on it because we stand behind it. When you shop for Florida-grown fruits and vegetables, look for local. Choose Fresh from Florida, the homegrown brand of Florida farmers.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
There's no Listen to what people are saying about ACL Home Inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus. And my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. You're listening to Seminole Headlines with Ira, Corey, and Jeff. Stay tuned for more headlines coming. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Tampa Bay Lightning $1.48 road favorite at Montreal today. Canadiens plus 124 on the money line. The total is 6.5. That number is shaded to the under at the Bell Center in Montreal. Orlando Magic laying 2 at the Toronto Raptors today. 2:15 the total at Scotiabank Arena. Ohio State wins the national championship 34-23 over Notre Dame. The Buckeyes cover as 8.5-point favorites, and they're the early favorites to win the 2026 national title at plus 450, followed by Texas at 5-1, Georgia at plus 550, Florida 60-1, Florida State 100-1. $250 bonus, and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
This sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful.
Hi, this is Matayo. And this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick. Because the spice comes in at just the right moment.
Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you going to eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now it's the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090, 999-0090, or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. You know, It's time.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, Seminole Headlines, headliner questions coming your way, brought to you by our friends at Birch Orthodontics.
Birch.
By the way, really quickly, old Dr. Birch weighed in on your Twitter post. First one.
How about that?
I mean, it took mere seconds for you soliciting questions that she responded.
I think Dr. Birch should get the first right to respond.
That's true.
I think she's our original ride or die.
She must have just been scrolling and then, oh, there's Iris prompt.
So she asked the question?
No, she just pointed out that we won't be having any Taylor Swift conversations this year because the basketball team
okay.
together.
She's fired up about basketball.
Oh, they're winning a few games here and there. So here we go.
I think from going forward, guys, don't respond to the prompt until Dr. Birch is weighed in.
Yeah, that goes for all of you.
Yeah. Just keep your powder dry until Dr. Birch weighs in.
Well said.
That's a good current phrase.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I was interviewing somebody and they gave me, like, it was a source, and they told me that.
To keep your powder dry?
No, they said, I was like, what's going to happen here? And they said, well, I think so-and-so is going to keep their powder dry. And I was sitting there going, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was like, I had no idea what the hell.
Yeah.
And I went home and
keep the
looked it
powder
up.
dry.
I use my context clues. I don't know that I've ever heard it before.
Yeah. Guess it's a gun reference?
No, I don't think I've ever heard that phrase until
You've not heard
35
it
seconds
now?
ago. I
Oh,
don't
no,
think
you've
so.
heard it. You've heard it.
Okay. Don't tell me what I've heard.
You've heard it.
Oh,
Old people uttered that on the Jimmy Carter back in the I'm sure of it.
And keep your powder dry, boys.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter.
So, Birch Orthodontics.
Birch Orthodontics. All of our kids have gone there. I was just again admiring. I took Alexa to a FSU women's basketball game on Sunday to watch them beat the Canes, as you mentioned.
Yeah, by like 30.
And so Alexa, when she was younger, she played basketball, so we would always go to those games. And there was an usher there, lady, really nice lady that was always really sweet to Alexa.
Susan, yeah.
So it's not Susan. So anyway, when Alexa was at the game with her friend, so I was like, I need you to go take you down, because the lady always asked me, how's Alexa? I was like, she's actually about to graduate.
Yeah.
So we brought her down, took a picture. I just marveled at the smile.
Oh, there you go. I was wondering. Okay. Oh, yeah, there you go.
It was
perfect.
Perfect smile.
Well done.
Perfection. That's the thing about that. Maybe she should think about getting a little putting an engraving like her logo or something on people's teeth. She should get credit for it.
Her initials at least.
When you're driving in your neighborhood, it says like the fence was done by this or the roof was done by that.
Yes, yeah.
She needs something to
I
mark
think
the
that
work she's done.
If you're in Tallahassee and you go buy a nice set of teeth,
you just have to assume
it's a Birch.
That's a good idea.
That's a Birch.
So when you're checking out at, say, Publix and you've got your grapes and whatever else you bought for the day, and you look up, you're like,
usually grapes.
Grapes, right?
Yeah.
Most of us get grapes. And then you look at it and you're like, look at those straight teeth. Birch Orthodontics again.
That's a Birch smile.
Just
nod.
Yeah, just nod. Birch nod.
I see what Birch did for you.
Yeah.
Your family members can have one too. Go to birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com. Free consultations, payment plans, great all the latest technologies, and great customer service. And you can talk about the Noles.
I'm going to get to these questions in 1 second, but it got me thinking about this. What's something that when you are at said Publix that you never leave without purchasing, no matter how many times you purchased it before? Now, the answer is Mio for him.
Yeah.
I already know it before he reaches for it. I already knew that. He's got hundreds. And he
I
just
literally
keeps
do. I have a
buying.
Mio's container in the
without
pantry.
question. And for you, it's what?
Bananas. We go through
I
1,000
will eat a banana.
Bananas.
Oh, buddy,
we go
Corey,
through so many
I
bananas.
was just
What's the
about to
matter
say
with y'all?
bananas. It's delicious.
Nature
They're-
snack.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
I thought we were grapes men. All of a sudden, you're throwing bananas at me?
I like grapes too.
Kim
I have
got
two
some,
kids that
Kim
love
got
grapes.
some grapes yesterday.
Got to, yeah.
But
but they got to be the firm grapes. You got to squeeze them.
Of course, yeah, you got to test them all, each individual grape.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't turn over so much. You can keep the grapes going for a while. The bananas, man, in my house, man, the bananas are gone in a week or a day or two.
Yeah, and I've gotten to where I like to smear peanut butter on my bananas.
Sure. You don't like bananas?
I mean, I can live or I can take them or leave them.
What?
I can take them or leave them.
Bananas are delicious.
I could eat on banana. If I had to eat bananas for the rest of my life to live, I could do it. I would stomach it
or die.
Remember, there was a story about William Refrigerator Perry when he was at Clemson. They put him on a diet because he was so fat.
He was a fat ass.
As you would.
Still is.
And it was an all banana diet. Like he couldn't eat anything but bananas. My dad used to always tell this story because it was part of a sports.
Why? Did they think he'd lose weight?
He gained 12 pounds in 3 weeks just eating bananas. That's how nutrition was in the early 80s, folks. Yeah. We've come a long way.
Yeah.
Bananas. I wouldn't have thought that.
I also don't think it's a great idea. You can eat too many bananas.
Yes, clearly he did. And it was a Clemson nutritionist in the 80s.
I could too. If I got the green light on bananas and they said eat as many as you want, that'd be a problem. I'd be the one gaining 12 pounds for sure. Love bananas. How much influence do you think the new staff will have on how practice is run? Garrett wants to know.
A lot.
Substantial, I think.
All of it.
Very
all of the
very high. Could be very high.
I'd be like, Mike, we got this. We saw what you did.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and
let us take over just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good idea, Mike. It's a really good idea. Let's just see if this works.
We'll take it into account.
But in 23, guys, this
is what we did.
It worked.
Oh, is Jared Verse here? Is Jared Verse? Where's Braden Fisk? Because we're not 2023 anymore, Mike. Those are going to be the conversations.
It will be interesting to see how it molds together because you're bringing a new defense coordinator who's going to have his goals, what he wants out of it. Gus Malzahn is going to have very strong opinions, we know. And then Mike Norvell, it's his team. So that is going to be an interesting kind of how it all comes together.
But you don't bring these two guys and then make them practice the way you want to practice. They get to install what 100%, they want. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, within certain degrees. I mean, maybe some things that are hallmarks of what you've always done to be successful.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, though.
An hour of special teams.
Oh, please, God. If you're listening to me, Tony, if you're listening to me, Gus, rest of you guys, I don't know if you have real say yet, but can we please limit the amount of special teams that we have to endure watching you guys
especially
practice?
Kickoff coverage.
It's unreal.
Because you got a kid with the leg. He can kick it out of the stadium.
Hey, you don't have
the
many
new
more.
freshman. No, I'm talking about the new
kid.
kid. He can kick it out of the stadium if he wants. You don't need to practice kickoff
I go wander around Dick Hauser. Every
it's-
time they go to that practice, I just start wandering around Dick Hauser. I got special memories sitting over
start
here. I
writing in my
remember over
diary.
here. I make a phone call.
I journal.
I talk about journal. You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
How are you woke up feeling what today, Corey? Go ahead and write that in there because they've got 40 minutes of this nonsense.
Yeah.
I seize the opportunity to see if I can learn something. Maybe I can learn something from just
you're capable of learning lots of things, but in that moment, you've seen it done a million times.
all right.
And we're gleaning nothing from it. It's enough.
But they will have some say, obviously.
Substantial say, I think.
Panama Noel writes, show enough and gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts on Mike Alford in this administration currently? I get the sense Jeff has 2 fingers to his eyes and 2 fingers to theirs. I do but not cynical reasons per se, not the reasons you might think, but we're going to need to see how this plays out. I think we're a little thin, stretched a little thin right now. I'm a little worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Listen, man, history is going to tell us how this administration did because, obviously, man, they went all over the limb with the lawsuit of the ACC.
Yes, they did.
The way they went about it publicly. Then you look at the spending that they did on football, even after you had success, some of the extensions that were made and the money they threw at this program to have it go 2-10. You look at what they've done with the stadium. We'll see. I mean, they got to make those payments. That thing is bonded to the hilt. They have financed the heck out of that stadium, which again, this is a very different Florida State. The Florida State, when Andy Miller was controlling the purse strings with the boosters, Andy, if you're listening, I know you didn't control the purse strings, but you had a big say-so.
Yeah.
They were much more fiscally conservative. They didn't like to build things until they had most of the money in hand. This is not what they're doing here, man. These things are bonded projects that they're going to have to pay the bills. Now, if it all goes well, history will tell us that they were fantastic. And if they get into a great conference and all that, but if those gambles don't pay off, then yeah, man, people are going to be criticizing them for as long as they're probably alive.
It sucks because they'll likely be long gone and we'll be left to sit there and hold the.
Right.
I'll be honest. I'm going to judge him almost solely on, will this swimming program ever be anything of note, of consequence? It doesn't make sense, Ira. Well, Florida State, you're in the state of Florida. They're always like the 23rd best program in the country. It's like, what? Even volleyball got to a Final Four about a decade ago. Like, what's going on with the swimming here? The men's tennis team is top 10.
You should bring that up on Wake Up Warchant.
I'm going to, okay, not headlines. You don't want to be a headline.
Spend a little time on it, Corey.
Okay, well, I'll do a deep dive. No pun intended.
Last thing on that, it's a possible there was no right answers, because they felt like they had to do that for the survival of Florida State because they were afraid of getting left behind in whatever the future holds.
Yeah.
And so that was why they did what they did. Doesn't mean it's going to work. And if it fails, that doesn't mean standing pat was going to work either, because you could have just faded away into oblivion. So I think there's, it's a nuanced
very odd time to be an AD at Florida State. I mean, that's a challenge. What a challenging time.
It's not just him.
Nail on the head at the end there. A very nuanced discussion.
Yeah. And
it's a very nuanced.
Yeah, and it's not just him; it's the people above him.
Yeah,
it's
Peter Collins and others. Absolutely. Tom writes, "How do you feel about our running backs?" He writes, Danzy, Singleton are good in space. Davis doesn't seem to have the natural instincts to play the position yet. I like Chromo, but I hesitate to be confident he can be RB1 in year one. Who can we rely on 3rd and 2 in goal line situations?
Well, you got Roydell. You got Keziah. Keziah, right?
Keziah.
He's here.
Yeah.
I think Ira's answer is going to be Chroma.
I think by October he's your guy if he's as good as we all think he can be. And Malzahn loves to have feature backs. I just don't know your first game against Alabama. He's never played college football. He's only been there for a couple months.
It's a toughie.
It's a tough time to make your debut. Cam Akers wasn't great as a freshman. He played in that Alabama game as a freshman. By the time he was done in 17, he was very good, but
stud.
He wasn't great to start. So yeah, I get the nerves about the running back. I just think that
they've got a lot of serviceable.
Yes,
they've got a few guys that
they might have special. Plays. They might have special in the freshman.
This is admittedly a problem with having to play Alabama in game one.
Right.
Is that you'd like to build up to it.
Hey, you don't have to.
I didn't do this to you. I did not serve this for you. I knew where he was going as soon as I said it. There is a drawback.
Yeah.
And if you're a little green at some positions, this is a tough one. Hey, kids, go get them. Alabama, go make it happen.
I do think that running back is a position, though, that, man, if you're a stud, we'll see it pretty early on.
We see freshmen emerge all over the country.
That's kind of the hope, though, right? Because I feel like Danzy, I don't know that he's never. I don't think he's going to be a traditional running back. He's not going to be an every down back. Maybe Cam Davis takes a huge leap, but there was nothing all that impressive about him, and he got plenty of at bats behind a horrible offensive line. We all know, but even when he had some space, it didn't seem all that special. They don't have anything that's proven that's special.
Yeah, and the thing is,
except the quarterback.
Well, and it's all different, and that will help them immediately.
100%. He might be the best runner they have.
But I will say this though: they each have strengths, but probably weaknesses. And Roydell Williams, I think, is probably more likely to be a guy that's going to get you 4, 5, 6 yards on most plays. I look back in his career, and he played at Alabama. I'm guessing he had some at bats against teams against inferior competition. His career long run like 26 yards.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's not great.
No, I went back and looked at it too.
What you're looking for.
I didn't like it.
But he is more likely to keep the chains moving. And I think Keziah Holmes, we all feel like he's been underrated, but I also don't know how many at-bats he's going to get because Gus doesn't do that.
No.
So,
unless he wins the job, he could win the job.
Yeah, win the job, Keziah.
The dad guy says, if you could get away with hitting anybody with a snowball, who would it be?
Oh,
Lee Corso. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
you went another route.
I think.
Well played.
Maybe. Right now it might be Jeff Capel, guys. Jeff Capel rose to the pretty high on my list.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I thought most people listening to this are going to say Herb Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to go that route.
Yeah, it's
maybe his dog.
Make him watch it.
Yeah. I'm throwing a snowball at your dog.
After all the adversity his Buckeyes faced this year,
then he has to see.
Take it, right? Yes. I don't know. Anybody? Probably my son. One of my boys.
Oh, well, that's a great point. Yeah,
that's one of my boys.
Yep, I'd say that too. One of Jeff's boys.
Just unload.
Probably Bryce. I'd throw it at Bryce.
It'd be fun. You'd get back after it. Next thing you know, you'd have a snowball fight. R.A. writes, gentlemen, happy baseball season.
It's almost here.
Hope you survive the Ice Apocalypse 25.
Yeah.
How come we never hear that players are unable to transfer due to credits or academic progress like the good old days?
So where did those go?
We've changed some things on the academics side nationally in college football. One interesting thing on that topic, though, is, so Wake Forest, I remember Dave Clawson making this comment last year that they wouldn't let him take in transfers who are already in their majors. If your first 2 years,
Jim Phillips should have kicked them out of the conference. That's ridiculous.
If your first 2 years were at another school, Wake Forest is like, we're not giving you a Wake Forest degree.
Yeah, but thanks
because
Wake.
you haven't done enough of your work here. So that limited how many they could take.
But they get the same amount of TV revenue as Florida State, right? And Clemson. Just wanted to clarify that. All right.
Well, and remember, they're a brand that's on the rise.
Yes. Well, clearly,
they're ascending. Everybody can't wait to talk about Wake Forest.
Yep.
Listen to them tell you that. It's true.
But in general, it's the whole academic side of the college football world.
Well, we kind of talked about that in hour one, how there's less of a connection feel between the fans and players. Yeah. R. Wilmer, good afternoon, gentlemen. With the future uncertain to what the courts will do, if the ACC and ESPN renews the current contract, how much of an impact will that have on FSU and Clemson's effort to leave? Would it be a leverage play to keep them both in their domain?
Yeah, man, I think it's just hard to talk hypothetically about that because I don't imagine that the ESPN is going to keep wanting to pay what they've been paying. Once the ACC went and added Cal and Stanford and SMU, I mean, it's a watered down product, and they're not going to want to pay those schools as much as they're paying these other schools.
But would that open up Florida State to say the contract?
That's the argument.
That is the argument.
Wouldn't then ESPN and ACC make sure that they keep it the same to avoid that?
I mean, I think that's kind of the question.
Yeah.
Is would they do that? And it's possible. I don't know. But there still is the lawsuit. Florida State still has this lawsuit that it's going forward in Leon County, which could be favorable. I mean, all the hearings under the judge so far have kind of gone more Florida State's way.
Right.
So the ACC has to ask themselves, or ESPN has to ask themselves, do you want to take the risk of losing it and not getting anything out of it as opposed to maybe doing something else? So it's hard to make conclusive statements about any of that because I think it's still also in play.
Chaco McNasty, gentlemen, just heard Aslan said that Wisconsin was claiming Miami was tampering with a player of theirs. If true, do you see any penalties for them? Thanks for all you do.
It is definitely true.
It's true and no. Who would enforce them?
That's correct.
How would you prove it?
It is going to be curious to see what happens. That's a weird one, man. I mean, that is a weird one because he did sign this new contract agreement with the revenue sharing and if those aren't going to be enforceable,
well, then what are we doing? Here? We should just stop playing the damn sport.
So,
we're going to be doing this. I'm serious.
Because that's the whole hope is that when they get to the revenue sharing, there will be these multi-year contracts.
They have to be.
That will be enforceable.
Yeah.
But here we are off the bat that we haven't even gotten there yet, and it's already being challenged in the court.
Trailer Swift. Hey, gents, if I were to send you guys a T-shirt, which would you rather have, the classic All Canes Conference or All In but still no Pop-Tarts?
I was All Canes Conference. I would
Yeah.
love one of those.
Always like the All Canes Conference.
Man, they've really taken it by storm.
It is impossible to imagine that Miami's been in this conference that long and not only not won the damn thing, but only played for it once and got blown out. They haven't done anything close to that.
Honestly, though, Duke was a thorn in their side, guys.
Well,
Well, a rivalry like that, you never know. You get past Florida State, and then there's
Duke waiting for you. Yeah, it's always been like that. It's not fair.
It's right.
But yeah, you think about all the teams that have at least played for it, like Georgia Tech, Boston College, won it.
Virtually all of the coastal teams,
like all of them except Virginia, right? I feel like Virginia and NC State, which is another whole conversation. What in the world?
Talk to them about it, man.
I mean, it's unbelievable. They don't do anything in anything.
They get awfully prickly when you bring that
up. But
up.
I mean, they did make the Final Four in basketball last year. Yip-de-doo. Like they don't, and they had a chance to win a College World Series, and they COVID it out. That was a dicey one. But
they also got screwed in that bowl game.
But
it always happens to NC State.
I know NC State can't catch a break.
It's toughy.
But yeah, there's probably 10 or 11 teams. Pitt's only been in the league for half the time that Miami's been. Like
BC's played for it, Wake's played for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who has it. Louisville's played for it. Like Miami hasn't accomplished more in the ACC than they've accomplished. Duke played
for it. Yes.
So is it Virginia and Miami are the only two teams? Like Virginia is the only team that they've played in the ACC championship game more than.
For it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Virginia that I can think of right now.
Oh.
because Boston College did, Louisville, they've all done it except Virginia. That's crazy.
It's glorious.
That's insane. Together.
Good God, man. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Injured? Call Fasig Brooks and come back stronger. Offices, Tallahassee.
Hi, this is Rudy Ferguson, pastor of Newburgh Tabernacle of Praise. Be encouraged, stand still, and watch God move with your morning word with Pastor Ferg. It's something God wants to share with you. Tune in every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. with the morning word with Pastor Ferg. I believe it's going to bless you and keep you for the week to come. Right here on Real Talk 93.3.
All right, about that time to upgrade my iPad and my Apple Gear. How much memory do I need? What upgrade should I get? What size screen? How many chargers do I need? USB-C, USB-D, mini USB, USB-B, ABC, 1, 2, 3?
If only there was a local business that can guide you and help you understand what you need and get you the best pricing possible. But wait, that's what they do at Mac & More Systems. Get help buying the right gear for the right price and have it shipped directly to their store for pickup, all at no extra cost. That's the kind of service you won't get at any big box store. Shop local at Mac & More Systems. Find out more online at macandmoresystems.com.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1, find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2, have a plan to get there. Step 3, make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Stop the Sherwin-Williams winter sale and get 30% off paints and stains January 17th through the 27th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for detail.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
It's kind of a fun one, Steve.
Hold on. We got a lot of corrections from the last segment, though.
What happened?
2.
Well, go.
The AC championship.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
So
Virginia, we apologize.
Virginia did make it. They got beat 62-17 by Clemson.
So
that was a very forgettable game, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's Syracuse and NC State are the two teams that have not been in the ACC championship.
Well, that's
game.
true with Syracuse. I forgot about that. Why did Virginia make it? Sweet.
It was that run where every year a different coast, because the coast was so terrible.
So terrible.
And like Florida State and Clemson are killing each other, and then it's just somebody from the coastal gets in.
Good God.
The other one is Roydell's had a few plays over 25 yards. I apologize, Roydell. I love you.
He had a 48-yarder against South Florida, gang.
Yeah.
48-yarder.
They had to have
it. They did in that game.
Florida was really pushing the envelope there. They had them beat.
Yeah, they barely won that game. It was a huge run.
Steve points out that the early numbers for next season are out already. And by the way, he's not wrong. Good job, Steve. Alabama at Florida State. You want to guess the lines, or did you
I'm gonna guess
somewhere around.
Let's guess at the same time.
You already know it.
I told him.
Oh, you sons of bitches.
8.5.
It's 9.5 according to DraftKings.
I thought at 8.5. It's already moved. It's already bumped up.
If it gets to 10.5, you taking the Noles?
Of course, I'm taking them on the money line, man. Are you kidding?
No money line offer available.
We don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. It's going to be somebody that's never played. Probably.
All right, I got one for you. Texas is at Ohio State, first game of the year. Did you know that?
Did not know that.
That's really cool.
That's probably what game day will be instead of.
That's going to be a good one. What do you think that number is?
Oh,
how would anybody know?
You don't even know who's going to
be the quarterback at Ohio State.
Well, I'm going to guess they get somebody. And
so Ohio State's at home.
It says Texas at Ohio State. So yeah.
I'm going to say Ohio State's favored by 5.
Good guess. It's 3.5.
Yeah.
Arch Manning going to go in there and whoop that ass, boy. What's wrong with you? Yeah,
it won't matter if they win or lose because
Notre Dame and Miami play each other in week 1. Did you know that?
What a day! What a day for college football. This is going to
be a weekend, huh? A little park your ass Saturday. It is in order, guys. This is what we get that first week. Iowa State, Kansas State, whatever.
Well, don't even say that.
That's over in Dublin. That's
okay. I got you. That's why you mentioned it.
Then you get TCU, North Carolina. LSU, Clemson.
Oh, okay.
Damn, let's go.
Where's that?
What is wrong with LSU? If I was Kelly, I'd be like, you sons of bitches, what are we doing out
Why do we keep doing this?
What is going on?
Please.
Fellas.
My old school just played for a national championship.
Like nobody sent them the memo. Hey man, ESPN's trying to rig this whole thing.
You don't have to do this. You do not have to do this.
Unbelievable. Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama, Florida State, Texas, Ohio State, and we also get a little Georgia Tech, Colorado.
All right.
I can see it. I can see
Haynes King putting some points on the board.
Late night on a Sunday, boys.
College?
I think so. Yeah.
Good God, really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he's got.
Did he play like 9 years for Jimbo at Texas A&M?
Just a couple. Just a couple.
By the way, the Virginia Tech South Carolina game. So that's the capper on that Sunday.
Beamer Bowl.
Just so you know.
That's right.
Anyhow, 9.5. You guys are giving or taking the points there?
I think I'm going to keep my powder dry.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my powder dry too. That's as the kids are starting to say again.
We're bringing it back.
Good job. Those kids are right. Keep your powder dry. Sean is all ready for baseball, and he wants to name a newcomer on the diamond to be an instant impact. Isn't the Crest kid from Jacksonville, the CHREST kid, the righty that was like freshman All-American?
Yeah, it was weird 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and then last year he wasn't all that good.
Back. He was on the 4.78 last year or something.
So, yeah, one of these pitchers for sure.
But I think that's my nominee.
Okay.
Yeah.
They got the Baseball America has them having the number 2 freshman in the country, the Hunter Carnes.
Maybe that's a good guess.
Something, but he's the catcher. He's a catcher, but he probably won't catch a lot because they got Jackson West, so he'll probably just DH.
Well, then I think he'll definitely. Be
bigger, stronger Jackson West.
Yeah. That's what I say. I'm going to guess the kid.
Maybe if he's really, really good defensively, Jackson becomes the DH. Because I like Jackson as a batter. He's a tough out. He's not that most power, but I would say the big freshman first baseman, the local kid,
the monster,
Miles Bailey.
That's a monster.
He is like 6'5", 250.
Thank God we got us a
they
monster.
Remember all the team. Link pointed out his first year here, even when they had a good start to the season, we're like 11-3. He's like, this just look like he didn't say this publicly, so I'm not saying it publicly, but like just look at this team. Like it's not. They don't look like big dudes. They aren't big dudes. They're good baseball players, but they're not big dudes.
It used to drive me nuts to watch Florida roll in here with these Neanderthals.
Pete Alonso wouldn't be the biggest guy on their team.
Walking out there with just monster after monster in batting practice. Well, we were at football practice watching a game, looking over. I'm like, every guy on their team is twice the size of everyone.
They keep hitting it to the tennis courts.
It's just the dumbest thing ever.
Link flipped it pretty quick.
He did.
So was that the OG Sean?
Yeah.
He also just sent me a video of the snow in Pensacola.
Yeah, and it's mounting.
Yeah, it's coming. And Louisiana is like a legit snowstorm.
Yeah, he's at the beach, and it's pretty cool.
So you're buying it?
Oh, I think it's coming.
Buying it. Okay, all right. Yeah.
He also wanted us to name a player that is already on the roster that we think is going to take a huge leap forward this upcoming year. And I would say, and I don't know if this is a huge leap. It's unfair of me to say a huge leap, but I think he's a superstar, and that's the Max Williams kid.
Yeah,
he's a star.
Yeah, he might. He had a good year anyway. His numbers were good.
That's what I mean. That's why it's not.
But
fair.
also, he must have had 20 outs last year that were hit at like 106 miles an hour.
Screamers.
He hit in such tough luck last year.
He's
and still had a
beast.
good year. When he hits the ball, holy cow!
So you guys are in agreement with mine. Thank you.
I think one of those middle infielders too. They were decent last year. Pretty good, had moments, but Farrow and Lodis. He
did finally conclude it. Old school headliner, all that. He did say that. Is there anybody that nobody's ever heard of on this team that's going to be a household name? So maybe it's the kid that's coming in that maybe everybody's following the.
I would guess the number 2 freshman in the country, the Hunter kid, Hunter Carnes.
Gator Kirk wants to know what we're doing to celebrate Squirrel Appreciation Day.
Stephanie just texted that.
It's an actual thing. Yeah.
By the way, so I had a note. We're not doing anything, but real quick, I mentioned this on Wake Up Warchant. I walked into my house last week after being gone for 7 or 8 days.
In your house?
There was a dead bird in my toilet. In my downstairs toilet, there was
like a mafia thing.
Dead bird. I don't know.
Like finding a horse's head in your bed.
How does a bird get in your toilet?
Great questions. All I have not answered. I do not know. But it was a dead bird. I'd been gone for 8 days. It was my house in Atlanta. I go up there.
I'm a little concerned.
And there was a dead bird. And first I was like, because it was a brown bird, a pretty sizable brown bird. I'm like, Brady, because he has a habit of not. It's ridiculous.
All right, don't.
And I'm like, wait, that's not that. That's a bird. That's a dead bird in my toilet water, in my downstairs toilet. No idea how it got there. It's still there.
Your doors unlocked though.
Yeah, but birds can't unlock doors.
Yeah, man, but somebody could. Somebody can send you a message.
Send me a message. Don't unlock your doors anymore.
They're saying, hey, next time.
I think what happened, the best thing, but I don't have an appreciation for birds. It's not like a message against your bird. Yeah. But the best thing I can think to happen was that when I was packing my car, I left the door open and a bird flew in that I didn't know had flown in, and then just was there looking for food for days.
Terrible way to go.
Yeah, but we all got to die.
Corey.
And it would not flush.
Has the ACC,
it wouldn't,
according to John, has the ACC become Fight Club? Rule number 1, you don't talk about Fight Club. Number 2, you don't talk about Fight Club. It's been a week since Pitt versus FSU. We've not heard anything from Jeff Capel, Pitt, FSU, or the ACC.
So, all right, here's the thing. So that was interesting that Pitt didn't even address it. Like Jeff Capel, his coaches show was the next day, and I actually went and listened to it, see if he would even make a statement.
You wanted more ammunition to hate.
Maybe or just hear like a little apology, like, hey, I got a little carried away.
Yeah,
nothing. It was like a special show that they didn't even come up.
Did they talk about the Florida State game?
No, and then
so maybe they hadn't even done it yet.
No,
I mean, they'd already recorded it.
I don't know, it's possible, but it was a special show about somebody going in the Hall of Fame, Sam Clancy or whatever. So they really didn't even talk about it. And then he played their next game, and people just move on. And I think it's also the state of college sports.
Nobody
media.
cares.
Like I don't know if anybody's even like on the Pitt beat.
It's also kind of college basketball
pulling him over. Yeah, that's very possible. But I asked somebody at FSU, I was like, hey, are you guys gonna like complain to the ACC? Because Jeff Capel was way out of control. And there's some stuff I had heard about later that I didn't even know about at the time. And somebody was like, you know what, honestly, it's better for us if Pitt does something with the rest of their season. So we're not really pushing for him to like get suspended or something because
they lost.
That would be it would be worse for Florida State. Yeah, so they're not trying to make it a big
deal.
They
need them to be a good win, a quad one win.
In the ACC, I don't know if they.
Let's just keep it moving.
They got other fish to fry.
And they keep losing.
By the way, isn't Gary Sheffield's son also on the baseball team this year?
He is.
He is, yeah.
I'm picking him.
Oh, all right.
You like that one? I'll pick him.
I like it.
I like the bat waving and everything. What if he's good? What if he's really good? Won't that be
with
fun
a metal
to see
bat
that again with a metal bat? Woo! Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
News now.
Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency for Florida, citing the impending weather. The order was made due to the Gulf winter weather system beginning today and the potential hazards it could have on the affected communities. Leon County Emergency Management is working closely with local, state, and nonprofit partners to coordinate response efforts. The City of Tallahassee Utilities Department notified its statewide organization that it may need help to restore power once the storm passes. Big Bend Electric providers also notified their partners they might need mutual aid. Leon County sand trucks are prepared and fuel to treat 33 bridges on county roads throughout the day, and the county is in coordination with FDOT to pre-treat interstate overpasses. Crews have also prepped barricades and signs to enforce road closures and address icy road conditions if necessary. There are also overnight cold shelters open for those needing a warm place to sleep throughout the week. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Probley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A winter storm warning continues. An extreme cold warning begins at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. High temperatures reach up to 45 this afternoon under overcast skies with mixed precipitation possible at times. North winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. 1 to 3 inches of snow today through tonight. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 46 degrees.
AC and electric is what we do.
Hi, this is Jeremy Parker, owner of Parker Services AC and Electrical. As we welcome the new year, I want to take a moment to thank you, our loyal customers, for trusting us to keep your homes in Tallahassee, Crawfordville, and the surrounding areas comfortable throughout the seasons. It's been our honor to serve you in 2024, and we look forward to providing the same dependable service in 2025. From everyone at Parker Services, we wish you and your family a happy, healthy, and comfortable new year. Here's to new beginnings and lasting comfort.
222-7722.
Florida license CMC 050334 and EC 130144434.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Kenny says, trade 2-10 season for 8-4, or 2-10 and we're guaranteed to beat Alabama game 1. Keep in mind, 8-4 probably keeps Atkins and Fuller had they done it. What say you?
I'm confused about the scenario here.
It is, yeah. I think we have to trade seasons. Would you have traded the 2-10 season for an 8-4 season this past year?
But Fuller and
had
Atkins
you done it,
Fuller
and Atkins are going to still be here, or would you want a 2-10 season and guaranteed to beat Alabama?
I would take that. I think honestly, I don't
know, man. 2-10 was rough.
The 2-10 was terrible, but I do think that this is going to be a better staff going forward. So I feel like it was a step back. If you had gone, even like I honestly, I believe if they had gone 6-6, he might have kept the whole staff.
He would have wanted to,
or very close to it. And then you'd be.
I would have resented that.
Yeah. So I feel like we have enough information now to feel good about the direction they're going in. So I would take it, especially if you're guaranteed to win over Alabama. It's pretty.
Yeah,
good
yeah.
deal.
You take it.
Tampa Tim writes, where do you guys see Jalen Lucas and Micah Danzig fitting in this season?
Lucas is really a good question because he only played in 2 games, and we've kind of criticized Norvell fairly for not getting him in the opener very much.
They got in, made a play, and then they just decided screw it.
And then they tried to in the second game, but then he got hurt. So I mean, really
making the play
right.
Mm-hmm.
So
late in the second quarter, by the way, it wasn't like he'd been in the game a lot until then, but he had a 30-yard catch and then broke his whatever he did.
So we don't know what he would have been last season. So he's a good question. He's coming back from some sort of a knee injury, so that causing the question a little bit. But yeah, I think those guys. I believe Mike Norvell. My theory could be wrong. I had some theories last year, guys, that didn't pan out.
They're just theories.
But my theory right now is that as that season went on, I thought Mike got more domed up as the year went on, and I think if he was thinking more clearly, maybe getting the ball to some of the guys who have talent would have been the way to go. And instead, he kept trying to fix the schemes and fix the execution. It's like, man, just find a way to get the ball in the hands of the dudes who can make plays. Yeah. And I think Gus Malzahn's going to be more inclined to do that. So those guys could be big factors.
touchdown last night to Jeremiah Smith on the play where that's as imaginative and cool as you'll ever see. And, they send the one guy in motion. They realize they don't have numbers on that side. Notre Dame's corner is pointing to the situation, sprints back behind the quarterback and out. I mean, I was like, we didn't see anything like that last year around here. We didn't see any imagination. It helps if you have Jeremiah Smith.
And it also helps if you can do anything to build off of, because they were concerned because they didn't have numbers. Florida State, there's nothing you were concerned about.
No.
So you're not going to over pursue for anything.
But it's a funny thing, like just the idea that would have ever been drawn up at any point. Like we saw less and less imagination as time went on, because I think, to your point, you're right. I think you just got locked up.
And they couldn't function, so it's just
What's the point? Trying to save some stuff for next year. Don't give away any secret.
Man, it had to have been so weird around week 5 or week 6. Just be like, well,
he's been prepreparing for Bama since late September.
Danzy, I really, I do hope they can make it work, because, and I know he's not an every down back. He's not going to be physical enough for that. But dude, that speed is ridiculous.
Yeah, and he made plays every week in practice, and they didn't have anybody else making plays like him.
Fairbanks asked a funny question, and I don't know where that came from, but he said, is it true that in 2012, when we were losing to NC State, J-Boo was on the sideline saying, I'd never lose to their sorry ass? It sounds like something he would say.
But no, I never heard
I doubt that, because they weren't losing until 12 seconds were left.
Well, they were up 16-0, and it was slipping away.
Yeah, but NC State didn't take the lead until there was 15 seconds left.
After I doubt he was saying field goal attempt?
Yeah. They did. They did eschew it. Yeah.
Shoot the field goal attempt.
If you aren't miserable enough in your life, and just go back and watch that fourth quarter.
It's difficult to watch because they have 2 picks. That are right there.
Yeah,
and it's the
he has the one coming right to him, and his teammate bats it down. I can't remember who. I think it was Xavier Rhodes was about to intercept it. Tyler Hunter knocked it down, or vice versa. But also, it should make you feel a little better. The silver lining there is that would have made the Florida loss that much harsher.
Well, but maybe it doesn't happen.
I mean, I don't know. I think that some of the things that happened in that game were still going to happen. But, yes, maybe it doesn't. But imagine
maybe there are 5 turnovers.
Imagine the anguish to be right there on the cusp of playing for a national championship, and then you lose to not a great Florida team, a good Florida team, but not a great one. That would have been really hurtful.
We would have survived the 4 turnovers. It was the 5th one.
The 5th one was a toughie.
That's too much to overcome.
Maybe run the ball a little bit, Jimbo. So Wes Mendes is a guy who apparently knew somebody to watch baseball. Somebody texted me that.
Yes, I got that text too. Yeah, as well. Yeah,
I didn't. I don't know who y'all know.
You're not connected.
Okay, my bad.
Let's get connections going.
I got my Baseball America subscription. That's all I need.
Let's go. I used to go to the old Club Publix on Pensacola. That's not there anymore. And I used to go.
It's not there anymore?
No. The original Club Publix is right on Pensacola, not the new one where they shifted it over towards Ocala.
It's still called Club Pub.
Oh yeah, but the original Club Pub. You guys know what I'm talking about. It was heaven on earth. But that particular Publix.
Just great produce.
No. When we would
produce in that Publix, man.
Something. When we would leave, you had the whole paper rack. Corey, you'll remember this. Back to back, all on the outside. And you could get a Baseball America, you could get a USA Today, you could get a New York Times, you could get a Washington Post. You could get it was incredible.
Would you get a Baseball America?
So. Yes, always.
USA Today had their weekly
one as well. Yeah.
I bet that was appealing to the ladies in Club Pub. Oh, look at this guy. He likes baseball.
Walking in with a folded Baseball America.
No,
hey, ladies.
I got it on the way home after having purchased the grocery.
All right. You'd already made your moves with the bananas and the grapes
and all that, and the melons. We were all good. I was going out and getting my
Shanny used to live on the apartments right down the road on
Yes.
Is that Ocala?
It's a good time. Yes, Ocala. Yeah. Crossover Tennessee, and I lived there too. This person's praying for the bird. You must have told the story on Wake Up, I guess.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, fellas in Sweet Pea, if you come home and find a dead bird,
real quick, did you bury him?
No, he tried to flush it.
I did try to flush it twice. It didn't work. So what I did, because you're not supposed to touch dead birds, really dead animals in general, although it had been in my toilet. So I feel like
frolic amongst the dead out there as much as possible, buddy.
You just see that's what my dog does.
Wait, rub their back on it and come in, and you're like, oh, good God.
Yes.
I got a workout shirt that I don't ever use, and I went in there and picked it up with the workout shirt. So my hand never touched it, and then threw it in the trash.
Proper burial?
No, very proper burial. Yeah, I went to my trash can.
You had to immediately take the trash out.
Yeah, and the trash guy was supposed to come that day, but didn't come for 2 more days. So I had a dead bird in my trash can out front of my driveway.
Hey, Justin, well written. He says, fellas, who else is excited to watch some long dongs at the dick? To go with my previous Jamie Arnold scenario, are all of these preseason nominations for Arnold a good thing? I feel like that's generally a curse. Well, we foist that upon those that we're excited about. We feel like they're going to fail because too much is expected of them, and that would hurt us.
It's a history, like a recent history when you think of Tyler Holton, Wyatt Crowell. Like they've had, even Cam Leiter last year, they've had some guys that have gone down after either promising starts to their careers or promising starts to the season.
Something that you thought.
You're always a little trepidatious when you have these
in
aces.
general.
Yeah. Gil Martin was terrible his sophomore year and then was good again as a junior.
And then was in the majors for 40 years as a specialist.
It will be difficult for him to reach what we've created probably in our minds of what he's going to be this year. Because I feel like the expectation, he was so great last year, and apparently he's better now. The way he looked in the fall, you start thinking, man, if he gives up a run,
so here's what you do. Don't believe it.
Temper him.
It's a lie.
Yeah.
Oh, there
he's terrible.
Yeah, he'll end up being like a Sunday setup guy.
Pleasant surprise when he's out here dominating. I didn't see this.
He'll be a guy at middle relief after he falters again and again against like Hofstra and VMI and Rhode Island.
I will say somebody asked earlier about whether or not we're going to see Cam Leiter, and I thought it was rather ominous when, like, the day after the publication that listed Cam Leiter amongst those are the reasons why Florida. And I'm like, and then you have Link come out and say, well, we'll see. He's concentrating on his health right now. Like,
but it's a terrible situation. I mean, I feel awful for Cam Leiter because he couldn't get back. I mean, they've gone through a ton of different things, and the velocity never came back, and it's just been one thing after another.
I'll just say this: like, they don't put any expectations.
I would not.
No, for him, just be pleasantly surprised if in May he's ramped up and he's pitching.
Right.
And that's when I'd ramp up Jamie too. Get him ready for May.
Corey doesn't want Jamie to pitch this season.
Right. Well, no. I don't want him to pitch in the regular season.
Yeah, just the postseason.
Yeah.
Okay. Making his debut here in the College World Series.
Jamie Arnold.
He also wants to cancel the Alabama game.
Right,
yeah, hey, that's how I live my life.
Corey walks around frightened.
Yeah.
Gas stations.
Gas stations are legitimate, and I had a dead bird in my toilet. Yeah. So my things happen to me, man, that y'all don't know about.
A lot. Babe O'Reilly writes, gentlemen, in watching the totality of the college football playoffs, what is the common denominator amongst the teams that we're most likely to replicate? Or does the number 2 man in FSU's baseball rotation get more wins than Norvell in their respective upcoming season? I'm going to say that's a surefire. Surefire. And then as far as replicating anything, lines of scrimmage, man.
Oh, I think they're saying, will the number 2 pitcher this year have more wins than the football team will this year coming up?
I'm going to guess the number 2 pitcher wins 7 games?
7 or 8.
Yeah, so it's a good guess.
Ballpark.
It's right. That's a good. Definitely more than 2, we think.
I mean, I think you'd love to be in Arizona State.
I mean, Arizona State, Indiana. Indiana played a really hard team at their place. I mean, it was a tough ask for them. But you can replicate 5 of those teams.
Yeah.
5 of them.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Boise State, come on, man. I know that's a different route for them, but Boise State, Arizona State, Indiana, Clemson was in the playoffs. Clemson didn't even house you.
Clemson gave Texas a scare.
I know.
A bit of a scare.
And they didn't even house you, and you were a horrible Florida State team this year. So you can.
That was a red zone thing.
SMU, all these teams, you can be close to them. You can be close to what Indiana, SMU, and Boise State were.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I do tell you what it
got you lucky, got you a little fortunate.
One other thing it tells you, scheduling is so important because SMU, Indiana, all those teams, because none of these conferences are playing everybody anymore.
Yeah.
And so if you've got a good team and it matches up with a favorable schedule, you got a good shot.
Florida State, though, will always play Clemson, will always play Florida, and will always play Miami. So you're not going to get.
Then they go out and schedule Alabama.
You're not going to get the Indiana effect.
No.
Yeah, until they get out of this conference.
Gentlemen, I realize you guys are often in a box, but do you prefer? I can't read. But do you prefer for these important games the consistency of a domed field or an open stadium?
I didn't know. I guess I like that the Eagles won they like took advantage, I guess, of the barely.
Well,
they barely
they want
won.
to bludgeon you to death with the run game, so it benefited them that it turned into
it was a snow. But it's also like, well, that's the beauty of being the home field team. Like getting the home field advantage.
That is if you're built to do that. I mean,
those Rams receivers were not loving life.
Golly, Nakua might as well not have played.
That's ridiculous.
No, that's a toughie.
That's crazy. Like, shout out to Burst, by the way. He's just named the defensive rookie of the year by one of the publications.
He also was a menace in the game.
Yes, he was, and tells everybody about it all the time.
But I'm saying, if you're going to talk junk, you got to be bashful,
man.
and you go to Philadelphia and you get 2 sacks, and man.
And he's from there. He's from Pennsylvania.
Even I think Jalen Carter was like, "Yeah, man, he backs it up." I don't know.
It was funny because they asked him about the pregame altercation and he's like, "No, man, I respect his game. He's a dude. You can't if you're going to talk, you got to show up."
And he and Saquon were talking to each other some, but even the touchdown that Saquon had, yes, he was running
slowed
past.
down to talk to him.
Yeah, but like, look at that 265-pound man not losing a lot of ground chasing Saquon effing Barkley. Like, that's just a freak of a dude that can run anywhere close to that fast.
The other nice thing about the snow game is I like that you see how far we've come as a species now. Like, they don't have to bring in a snowmobile to clear off for the field goal. The dudes just get down and start clearing off the grass.
Yeah.
Like in the 70s, nobody thought of that.
The famed Miami-New England game, which might piss my dad off to this very day.
Yeah. Just bring out the snowmobile.
The prisoner.
Yeah.
The prisoner.
Driving the Zamboni.
Yeah. I got this, boys.
Yeah, and he clears off the place for the hold for the kick.
Well, and at that time, New England had never accomplished nothing in their lives.
But going back to the question, I don't think that I feel like I do like dome matchups better. I think it's more of a representation of the
dome.
I would rather it be in an outdoor stadium in the Deep South.
But I would hate for like if it was a Deep South outdoor game and then it was a torrential downpour. It's like, well, this doesn't seem the best way to.
It's not ideal. But if they had played this game in Miami yesterday and it was 72 and outdoors,
ideally, 100%. Ideally, I get with you 100%. I just think like that Superdome game at Florida State and LSU, that I didn't feel like that was less than. It was a great game.
It was a great game.
It was
should not have been a great game. We were dominating that game until they got tight. And man,
who knew? Like literally, like
Jaden Daniels.
I thought they were going to bench Jaden Daniels in the fourth quarter. He looked awful up until the fourth
last
quarter.
Drive,
last couple drives. On man, they got to go to the other kid. Jaden Daniels ain't it. He wasn't at Arizona State last year. He's not very good now.
A couple of first-round wide receivers.
Yeah, and then now he is what he is.
I think Neighbors and the other receiver all up for Rookie of the Year.
Brian Thomas.
Thomas said Jacksonville had a huge year. I actually just late in the game in fantasy drafted him, and he was like my most productive player on that godforsaken Jacksonville team.
Yeah.
Three
pretty good win in hindsight to beat that team by 3 touchdowns.
If you go back and think about Jaden Daniels at Arizona State,
oh man!
Now imagine somebody is telling you at Arizona State that dude is going to be the best rookie quarterback.
The guy in 2022 that we saw for 3 quarters he just looked like an average ass quarterback.
It's
cool to know. It's good to know that you're not just what you you're not what
you can get better.
You can get better.
Somebody asked in the chat if we saw the story about the virtual reality stuff that Jaden Daniels is doing. There's a couple of big stories about that the last week or two. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I think that's cool. That's awesome. It feels a little bit to me like the 2013 team with the GPS stuff. Like
he's blessed with some stuff that VR
is not giving it to him. You can't replicate that. It's nice. It's smart, and I'm sure. And I think other people are doing it. I think FSU does some stuff with it, but it's
you got to utilize everything. Sure,
yeah, you can do it for porn too.
Well, but also,
you can.
Come
on, you know that?
Man.
I didn't know. Does it enhance?
I think it enhances.
Just stop,
okay.
Both of you. You were about to go down the rabbit hole. No.
Get us back.
Well, we only have less than a minute, but I was only going to say this. It is cool to see somebody improve by that degree.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's insane because the arm talent is unreal right now. At first, you just looked at a guy that he's elusive. He makes every throw. It's insane.
And the poise, man.
Oh,
he's got dudes barreling down on him, and he does not care.
He's going to wait quick. He knows the blitz is coming. He sees where he's supposed to go. He's not just beating you with talent. He's beating you with his mind.
It's cool to watch because he's having fun.
He seems likable.
He seems imminently likable.
Travis was better than him twice.
Man.
Suck on that,
I don't know if they're going to sign Aaron Rodgers or not. They don't need to. They got the guy.
For Corey Clark and Ira Chaffel, I'm Jeff. Stay safe in the show, everybody. Be well. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.